Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir has captured the hearts of fans everywhere with its heroes, magical secrets, and non-stop action. But here's the real question. Do you actually know all the Kwamis and the incredible powers each one of them brings to the table? Tiki. The most famous Kwami is definitely Tiki, the Kwami of creation. She lives in a pair of magical earrings that turn her holder into a ladybug-themed superhero. Sounds cute, right? But don't be fooled. She holds the power of luck and can purify those dreaded Akumas. Her weakness? Food. These earrings are the very first known miraculous Ladybug's earrings. Tiki, whose name means happiness, is literally billions of years old. Her current holder is Marinette Dupin Cheng, who transforms into the fearless Ladybug, gaining several unique powers thanks to Tiki. For instance, she has the Lucky Charm, which brings good fortune and makes magical ladybugs appear, flying around fixing everything. And she also has the power of purification. This Kwami has been bonded to several historical figures throughout time, including Joan of Arc. Today, we're going to show you every single Kwami and their powers, the ones that help our heroes take down villains. So, come along with us for another epic video. Plague. The second most well-known Kwami is definitely Plague, the Kwami of destruction, or as Adrian likes to call it, the Kwami of disaster. He lives in a simple ring worn by the hero. This is the second miraculous jewel, the Black Cat's ring. The Kwami's name, Plague, comes from plague, which honestly sums up his personality pretty well. Just like Tiki, he's billions of years old, created either during or right after the universe came into being. No one really knows for sure because, well, he was probably sleeping. His current holder is Adrien Agreste, our beloved and hopelessly in love Cat Noir, the hero who flirts more than he fights. Plague gives his holder two main powers. First, the classic Cataclysm, a destructive energy that basically turns anything it touches into magical dust. And the second, more recent power is Miraculous Cataclysm, where a swarm of shadowy kittens bursts from a giant cataclysm to wipe out anything created unnaturally by a villain. Nuru. Nuru is the Kwami of transmission. But poor guy, if there's one title he truly owns, it's being the unluckiest Kwami in the box. He lives inside a butterfly-shaped brooch that lets the wearer become a superhero, or, unfortunately, a supervillain. He's the one Kwami who's worked for the dark side more than the light. If he had an employee badge, his boss's name would be Gabriel Agreste, with a huge red flag warning. Despite his delicate look, Nuru has the power to pass magical abilities to others based on their emotions. Pollen. Pollen is the Kwami of subjugation, which might sound a little strange at first, but in practice it means she can immobilize any enemy with a single venomous strike. She's a charming little bee who lives inside a magical hair comb, all decked out with the glam of a true queen bee. Her theme is exactly that, bees. And not just any bee, but a powerful warrior whose sting can freeze you in place. Her power lets her release a kind of energy venom that leaves targets completely paralyzed. But Pollen's life isn't all about powers. Her social life has had drama worthy of a soap opera. She was once held by Chloe Bourgeois, the famous queen bee who thought she owned Paris and the universe. Things were going somewhat okay until an epic betrayal against Marinette went down, and let's be real, it was bad. Result? Pollen was taken away from the spoiled blonde and given to a more trustworthy holder. Tricks. Tricks is the Kwami of illusion, or if you prefer, the queen of tricks, pranks, and high-quality mischief. She lives inside a magical necklace, the third miraculous jewel known as the Fox Necklace. Her permanent holder is Alia Césaire, who transforms into the charismatic Reina Rouge. Her weapon is a flute, which also works as a staff, a fishing rod for illusions. With it, the hero activates her mirage power, allowing her to create illusions so realistic they can even fool a mirror. Sounds, shapes, visuals, and even touch. Yep, these illusions come with texture. Among Trix's past holders is the legendary Pied Piper of Hamelin, who basically controlled both people and rats using his music. Stump. Stump is the Kwami of determination, the real tank of the group. He lives inside a nose ring, the boldest and most hardcore accessory in the entire Miraculous box. His look? A seriously grumpy little bull. His power is raw force. He gives his holder incredible strength, the kind that can take a villain's final boss-level punch and still stand tall. With Stomp, the hero can max out their physical power and take hits that would send anyone else flying. Fluff. Fluff is the Kwami of evolution, or, as some like to call him, the Bunny of Time. He lives in a magical pocket watch, the kind that looks like it came straight out of an old movie, or a time-space wormhole. He may look like a cute little bunny, but behind those floppy ears is a power that can shuffle past, present, and future like a deck of Uno cards. Fluff's theme is the rabbit, a direct nod to the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, who was always late. But here, Fluff isn't running because he's late. He's running because he can open time portals and take you to any point on the timeline, including that super embarrassing moment you thought everyone had forgotten. What's even cooler is that Fluff can be used by people who aren't even his official holder. With him, you can manipulate time, open wormholes, travel to the past, fix mistakes, sneak a peek at the future, and even meet alternate versions of yourself, which honestly is perfect for settling arguments with, well, you. Before we dive deeper into discovering all the Kwamis in Miraculous, drop a comment below saying, Ladybug, sass. Sass is the Kwami of intuition. And not just any intuition, we're talking wise old serpent vibes here. He lives inside a bracelet shaped like an Ouroboros, and unlike some of the more chaotic or playful Kwami, Sass carries himself like a leader and speaks as if he's been meditating for the past 3,000 years. As the leader of the Kwamis, he's calm, strategic, and that totally fits, since his power is Second Chance, a super rare ability that lets the holder rewind time by up to 5 minutes. Basically, the hero activates the power, figures out what went wrong, and then redoes the action, fixing everything. This ability makes Sass one of the most powerful and dangerous Kwamis. With enough time and practice, you could correct mistakes, predict traps, and totally outsmart your enemies. Ziggy. Ziggy is the Kwami of passion, and he does not mess around. He lives in a magical hair comb and has an incredible power, turning any object you imagine into reality. His power is a dream for anyone who's super creative, because when you're in a tight spot, imagination becomes your deadliest weapon. Ziggy helps his holder create anything that pops into their head, from makeshift shields to magician-level distractions. Oriko. Oriko is the Kwami of pretension, or, as he proudly calls himself, the King of Confidence. He lives in a thumb ring and takes the form of a rooster with major swagger. Oriko's power is absolutely amazing. It lets the holder temporarily gain any skill they want. Want to be a ninja master, a race car driver, or a 5-star chef? Just think it, and Oriko delivers that skill instantly, like express shipping from the universe. Daidzi. Daidzi is the Kwami of jubilation, the true source of joy and dream fulfillment. He lives in a pearl ankle bracelet, a stylish accessory that totally matches his charming personality. Daidzi takes the form of a cheerful pig, bursting with positive energy, the kind that believes anything's possible, as long as you believe too. Daidzi's power is magical and inspiring. He lets his holders make their dreams come true. Waze. Waze is the Kwami of protection, also known for his legendary shell. He lives in a magical bracelet and has the power to create nearly indestructible shields. His mission? Block any attack and keep his allies safe, no matter what. This is the 4th miraculous jewel, the turtle bracelet. Waze, a wise little turtle just like his name suggests, has a calm nature, a Zen master voice, and a memory so sharp it probably remembers the gossip from when the universe was born. For many decades, he was bonded to the legendary Master Fu, the original guardian of the Miraculous box. These days, he belongs to Nino Lahith, who transforms into the hero Carapace, Paris's most stylish shield-wielding protector. In Season 6, his power got even cooler. all the holders, including Nino, learned how to break the 5-minute time limit after transforming. Now they can use as many powers as they want, like they just unlocked adult mode in the Miraculous universe. Do-Usu. Do-Usu is the Kwami of emotion, the most dramatic, intense, and theatrical Kwami in the entire Miraculous box. He lives in an elegant brooch, which totally matches his symbol, the peacock. And trust us, that's no coincidence. His power is insanely strong and, like the name says, it's tied to deep emotions. He can create beings called sentimonsters, born straight from the holder's feelings. Love, anger, loneliness, or even that weird mix of hunger and nostalgia you feel at the end of the day, it all turns into magical creatures with Dusu. For a long time, he didn't interact with the characters much like the other Kwami, and for good reason. His Miraculous was broken. And just like any good dramatic peacock, he suffered over it. Mulo. Mulo is the Kwami of multiplication, the master of clones and copycats done right. He lives in a magical necklace and is themed around a mouse, which fits perfectly because nobody multiplies faster than a clever, energetic little mouse. His power lets the holder create multiple clones of themselves, perfect for doing a million things at once, fighting off a whole army of villains, or maybe just finally finishing all those assignments you totally procrastinated on. Roar. Roar is the Kwami of power, and with a name that literally sounds like a roar, you know this little guy means business. He lives in a Panja-style bracelet, and his symbol is none other than the tiger. When his power is activated, the holder gets a massive boost of strength. It's like chugging a supercharged energy drink mixed with rage, courage, and powdered protein. Long is the Kwami of perfection. And let's be honest, he lives up to that title. He lives in a sophisticated choker necklace, and his symbol is the dragon, a majestic, wise, and powerful creature. His power lets the holder become a true master of the elements. And here's the best part. The holder can choose which form to take: water, wind, or lightning. Ka'alki. Ka'alki is the Kwami of teleportation, the ultimate master of instant travel. He lives in a pair of stylish glasses that not only match his natural elegance, but also allow him to see any place on the planet, or even in another dimension, if needed. His character is a small horse, but don't be fooled by his size. Ka'alki is fast, refined, and straight to the point, literally. With his power, the holder can open glowing portals that lead anywhere they want. XUPPU. Chupu is the Kwami of derision, the official prankster of the Miraculous box, with a bit of strategic chaos mixed in. He lives in a magical hoop, and his theme is the monkey, which says a lot about his personality: mischievous, playful, and totally unpredictable. His power is as wild as it is useful. He can throw enemies completely off balance, making them fight at full force without thinking. It's like switching villains into unfiltered mode. They lose focus, lose control, and on top of that, totally expose themselves. All thanks to Shupu's signature gift of provocation, Bark. Bark is the Kwami of devotion. And yes, he's just as adorable as you'd expect. He lives in a collar-shaped necklace, and his theme is the classic best friend of humankind, a loyal, dedicated dog, always ready to help. His power is one of the most useful and underrated abilities in the Miraculous box. It allows the holder to retrieve any object they've previously touched. Lairi. Leary is the Kwami of freedom, the free spirit of the Miraculous box. He lives in an elegant necklace, and his symbol is the eagle, queen of the skies. With the power of liberation, Leary allows the holder to break free from any kind of restraint, physical, mental, or even magical. Chains dissolve, prisons lose their grip, and anything that once seemed inescapable just disappears. Each Kwami carries not only a unique power, but also a striking personality and stories that tie into legends, deep emotions, and thrilling adventures. If you're into the world of animation, we've got 2 awesome videos we know you'll love watching. Thanks for sticking with us, and see you next time. If you've watched Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, you know the series brought us AKUMATIZED villains who pushed the heroes to their limits in battles packed with emotion. But have you ever stopped to think about which ones were the most powerful of all? The ones who almost managed to defeat Ladybug and Cat Noir? Cat Blank. Number 1 on this list couldn't be anyone else but Cat Blank, the corrupted version of our beloved and sometimes clumsy Cat Noir. But hold up, he's not just some background villain of the week. We're talking about one of Marinette's biggest traumas and one of the darkest storylines in all of Miraculous Ladybug. It all starts innocently enough. Marinette wants to give Adrien a simple beret as a gift. Sweet, right? The problem is, instead of just acting like a normal person, she decides to bring Ladybug's powers into the mix. The result? Adrien finds out her secret identity. From there, the story spirals out of control in that unique way only Miraculous can pull off. Gabriel Agreste, who already had a solid track record for Worst Dad of the Year, takes the chance to AKUMATIZE his own son. And just like that, Cat Blanc is born, the apocalyptic version of our kitty, a villain with practically unlimited power, capable of wiping out Paris with a single touch. Think of him as Thanos, just in a white suit and with way bigger family issues. This episode is considered one of the most tragic in the series. We see Adrien completely corrupted, Marinette desperately trying to fix things, and Paris, well, Paris gets blasted into space, literally. And yet, right in the middle of the end of the world, Adrien and Marinette finally kiss. Yep, the long-awaited kiss fans had been waiting for happens in the middle of all that chaos. The result? Fans lost their minds, theories exploded, and to this day the episode is remembered as a major turning point in the series. So, Cat Blanc isn't just another villain. He's basically an emotional scar in the Miraculous Ladybug storyline. A mix of romance, tragedy, and destruction that proves when love goes wrong in this universe, it's not just hearts that break, it's all of Paris that blows up. Step right in, the video has already started. Oblivio. This time we've got Oblivio, a fusion that's anything but ordinary. Nino and Alia, who are not only Marinette's and Adrien's best friends, but also a couple in the series. The episode kicks off in chaos. Marinette and Adrien stuck in an elevator with no memory. That's right. Oblivio isn't just powerful, he's the type of villain who could make you forget where you even left your phone charger. And of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir completely lose track of who they are. Secret identities? Gone. But that's where it gets really interesting. Without the baggage of memory, Marinette and Adrien start falling for each other all over again, this time fully aware of who they are. And yes, it's in this whirlwind of forgotten memories that the famous kiss between the two happens. No masks, no secrets, just the moment that had fans screaming louder than Hawkmoth at the end of an episode. In the end, like true heroes, they manage to defeat Oblivio, return Paris's memories, and save Nino and Alia. In other words, everything goes back to normal, except for the fans' hearts, which were left in pieces after that kiss. Risk, an innocent little toy that turns into a threat. That's how Risk is born. The villain who makes everyone lose their fear. Yes, literally everyone in Paris starts living like they're stunt doubles in an action movie. The result? The whole city becomes a chaotic amusement park with people throwing themselves into insane dangers like it's the most normal thing in the world. And here's the most ironic part. This villain came from a stubborn kid. Yup, that classic I'll do it my way phase got supercharged, and suddenly, Paris was at the mercy of a little boy. Before spreading his wave of courage, he even hid the AKUMATIZED object on the playground, right inside his toy frog. And of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir took a while to figure out where the key piece was hidden. Another creepy detail was the mark Risk left on people's necks. It was like a stamp burned onto their skin, turning any ordinary person into a reckless daredevil. Naturally, Hawkmoth took full advantage, proving that playing with emotions, or in this case, the lack of them, is the perfect recipe for disaster. Robostus. Max has always been the class genius, but this time he went from prodigy nerd to building a robot with feelings. The result was Robostus, a villain who could bring any object to life. And when I say any object, I mean any. A chair, a doll, a traffic light. Suddenly, everything turned into a threat. Paris looked like one of those movies where even the toaster decides to rebel against humanity. But let's rewind a little. Max was helping the school get rid of a computer virus, but in the process, he created this robot that not only worked well, but also wanted to chat, share ideas, and basically join the group. The problem? The teacher wasn't exactly thrilled about having a classmate made of bolts. The result? The principal confiscated the robot and locked it in his office like it was just a banned toy. Except here's the thing. This robot had real feelings and a deep bond with Max. When it was separated from its creator, it felt loneliness, rejection, and the kind of heartbreak worthy of a sad playlist on repeat. That pain was the perfect opening for an Akuma to swoop in. And just like that, Robustus was born, loaded with bitterness and enough power to turn Paris into a horror movie version of Toy Story. Ladybug and Cat Noir had a massive challenge on their hands with this one, because fighting a city where every single object could suddenly come to life isn't exactly easy. It was like playing a video game on extreme mode. But in the end, as always, they managed to save the day, restore peace, and show that even technology can have both a heart and a temper. Before we keep going with the rest of the most powerful AKUMATIZED villains in Ladybug, drop a comment below. Villains. Darker Owl. Paris was already on fire with so many superheroes running around, and in the middle of that hype, Principal Damocles decides he wants to join the trend too. The problem? He has no powers, no real skills, and can barely climb a staircase without running out of breath. The result, of course, was everyone bursting into laughter when he tried to play hero. And that public humiliation was exactly the push Hawkmoth needed to step in. Fueled by his sense of ridicule, Damocles accepts the Akuma and transforms into Darker Owl. Think of him as a dark, twisted version of Batman. He's that kind of villain where you don't know whether to run away from him or laugh in his face. Deep down, Darker Owl is a strange mix. On one hand, he represents a real threat to Ladybug and Cat Noir. On the other, he delivers some unintentional comedy just by trying to be this dark, brooding hero who can never quite take himself seriously. This episode shows that even adults can fall into the trap of wanting to be something they're not. And in Principal Damocles' case, his dream of becoming a masked vigilante only proved that Paris already has more than enough superheroes. Lies. Ever since Adrien met Kyoko, he discovered a new kind of freedom. No uniform, no superhero duties, just two teenagers trying to escape the chains of their over-controlled lives. Kyoko, with a routine as strict as Adrien's, knew how to create magical moments, secret meetups that felt like they were stolen from a forbidden romance. But there's one little detail. Adrien is also Cat Noir. And being a superhero comes with a heavy price. Every time he has to transform, he also has to lie. To the world, to his friends, and inevitably to Kyoko. But she's no fool. She notices the excuses, the disappearances, the evasive looks, and when the truth never comes, her heart breaks. It's in this storm of emotions that she gets akumatized and becomes Lies, a ruthless supervillain determined to wipe out every single lie in the world. Her goal is crystal clear: destroy anyone hiding the truth, including, of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir. The cruel irony? Adrien, who lied to protect her, ends up as one of her main targets. This episode is intense, showing not just the destructive power of lies, but also how fragile relationships become once trust is broken. More than just a battle against a powerful villain, it's a fight against the heartbreak of betrayal. Party Crasher. Adrien's life is always surrounded by rules, and one of the strictest is that he's not allowed to have friends over at his house. When he tells Wayhem about it, the boy understands, until he finds out an impromptu party happened inside the mansion. And guess what? Jealousy hits hard, and that's the perfect opening for Hawkmoth to attack. And that's how Party Crasher is born. The villain who shows up out of nowhere to ruin any fun. He comes in with a flashy look, oversized muscles, and overwhelming strength, turning the party into a full-on battlefield. Forget cake, music, and dancing. The vibe instantly shifts to chairs flying, people screaming, and guests running like it's a high school prom gone completely wrong. Party Crasher is basically the embodiment of that one uninvited friend who only shows up to wreck everything. Except, in this case, he's powerful enough to put even Ladybug and Cat Noir in serious trouble. The episode perfectly shows how simple feelings like jealousy and exclusion can blow up into something massive once Hawkmoth gets involved. What was supposed to be a fun hangout with friends suddenly becomes an intense fight to save Paris from a villain who just couldn't handle rejection. In the end, of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir manage to defeat Party Crasher and restore order. If you're not part of it yet, take this moment to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll catch every update without missing a thing. Penal team. Imagine an entire squad of villains on the field, kicking balls that look like missiles and turning a simple soccer match into an explosive battle. That's exactly what happens in Penal Team, one of the wildest episodes of Miraculous Ladybug. Every play becomes a war strategy, and every kick could end in total chaos. It all starts innocently enough. Miss Bustier, always the inspiring teacher, organizes a soccer game to teach the values of teamwork, sportsmanship, and of course, fun. Marinette, who absolutely loves the game, is super excited and does everything she can to keep the harmony on the field. But, as always, someone has to ruin it. Chloe. Chloe hates soccer, plain and simple, hate with every fiber of her being. But what really drives her crazy is watching Marinette, calm, focused, and determined, insist on including her in the match. That's just too much for Chloe's ego. The result? Her anger explodes, and Hawkmoth sees the perfect opportunity. AKUMATIZED, Chloe transforms into Penal Team, and the game turns into a nightmare. Now, instead of a harmless school match, Ladybug and her allies are forced to face an entire team of villains, where every move is a weapon and every goal is an explosion. Paris suddenly feels like the stands of a World Cup final, but the apocalyptic version. Stormy weather. Aurora always dreamed of being the star, but when she loses a competition, frustration takes over, and Hawkmoth finds the perfect opening. That's how Stormy Weather is born, the villain capable of turning a simple tantrum into a full-blown climate apocalypse. And no, that's not an exaggeration. With just one move, she can freeze all of Paris or unleash storms so intense that even the best umbrella would call it quits. Suddenly, what started as just a sore loser meltdown turns into complete meteorological chaos. Stormy Weather isn't just powerful, she's also unforgettable. She was one of the very first villains Ladybug and Cat Noir ever faced. And since then, she's always returned to prove that you should never underestimate someone with total control over the weather. After all, it's not every day you meet someone who can turn an entire city into a freezer or make it rain like the end of the world is coming. To defeat her, Ladybug and Cat Noir need more than just strength. They have to show that Aurora's bad habits, like not knowing how to handle losing, don't define who she really is. Only then can the sun shine over Paris again. Hoaxer. Lila is an absolute master of lies. Her twisted talent not only makes everyone adore her, but also earns her a contract with none other than Gabrielle Agreste. Everything seemed perfect for her, until Marinette and Adrien started growing closer. And since fate loves a plot twist, Gabriel chooses Kyoko as the new face of the brand, leaving Lila furious. Determined to reclaim her spotlight, Lila seizes on a minor incident in class and calls for new elections to try and replace Marinette as class rep. But, of course, things don't go as planned. Her campaign flops miserably, much to the delight of Hawkmoth, or rather Monarch, who watches it all with that smug grin, knowing misinformation has its limits, or maybe none at all. When Lila transforms into Hoaxer, things escalate fast. She becomes an expert at spreading lies and manipulating everyone around her with fake news. Nothing is safe from her reach. Classmates, teachers, even superheroes. She's the kind of villain that proves disinformation can be more dangerous than any physical superpower, able to cause nearly irreversible damage in just a matter of minutes. At the end of the day, every villain in Miraculous Ladybug proves that not all threats come from superpowers or Akumas. More often than not, the greatest challenges rise straight out of human emotions. Do you enjoy the world of animations? Then don't miss these 2 awesome videos we picked out for you. Thanks for tuning in and see you soon! In Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, there were some amazing moments where the heroes had to use all their creativity to win their battles. But do you remember all those times when some holders actually swapped their Miraculous and it completely changed the course of the story? Marinette. Let's start with our beloved Marinette Dupin-Cheng, or as we know her, Ladybug, the official holder of the Ladybug Miraculous. Don't think she was stuck with just one jewel forever. No way. In plenty of moments throughout the series, Marinette used other Miraculous, And honestly, every transformation looked like an intergalactic fashion show. Paris had never seen such a variety of magical looks. A classic example was in that episode where Ladybug and Cat Noir had to swap Miraculous so they wouldn't risk revealing their identities. The chaos began when Marinette was working on clothes for her own brand's collection. But since they were dealing with fashion and exposure, they had to remove their jewels. The result? They left the Miraculous in Adrienne's car, which apparently is safer than any bank vault in Paris. But as every Miraculous fan knows, peace doesn't exist in this series. One of Marinette's friends got akumatized, and guess what? Marinette and Adrienne got caught up in the attack. That's when the Kwamis, in total improvisation mode, handed the Miraculous over to them. Only, there was one funny little detail. They handed them the wrong ones. Marinette became Lady Noir and Adrienne transformed into Mr. Bug. Pure chaos. And it was hilarious watching Marinette trying to keep her cool with Cat Noir's powers, while Adrienne had to carry the weight of coming up with crazy plans. Spoiler, neither of them came out of that experience unharmed. Another curious moment was when Marinette had to visit family in London. This time, she trusted the Ladybug Miraculous to Alia. And let's be real, Alia already deserved a badge, uniform, and health plan as the official substitute heroine of Paris, because she handled it like a pro. But it doesn't stop there. Marinette also used the Mouse Miraculous when Tiki and Plag were sucked away, and she needed some magical trick to solve the situation. That scene was a mix of cuteness and panic, because the mouse's power multiplies the user, and suddenly we had an army of Marinettes running around to save the day. A dream for homework help, but a nightmare for anyone sharing a bedroom. And the peak moment, of course, was when Marinette went full-on magical jewel collector and used practically all the Kwamis at once. The plan was completely insane, something straight out of a fan theory, but it worked. She ended up facing her own teacher, who had been akumatized, and proved that even on the fly she could handle the situation. In the end, every time Marinette used a different Miraculous, the show gave us iconic moments, stylish transformations, and a reminder that this girl isn't just Ladybug, she's basically Lady Multiverse. Every swap, every loan, and every new transformation shows that in Paris, being a hero goes far beyond just fighting villains. It's about knowing who to trust, how to use powers wisely, and of course, how to deal with the unexpected side effects these jewels bring. Don't waste time, come join us, because there's a brand new video already up. Adrienne. In an unexpected moment, Marinette ended up needing more help than just Cat Noir. So she bet on other holders to reinforce the team against a very dangerous villain. Her idea was to bring Adrienne in as one of the new heroes, thinking he had no connection at all with Miraculous. The catch is that nobody, not the magic books, not even Marinette herself, knows Cat Noir's secret identity. The result? The plan was already doomed from the start. Plag even tried to warn that it wouldn't be a good idea, but Adrienne went ahead and used the Snake Miraculous anyway. Only the strategy didn't exactly go as planned. Adrienne ended up disappointed because he couldn't live up to Ladybug's expectations. It was a phase full of failed attempts, with him trying over and over, always unable to save the heroine the way he wanted to. Because of that, Marinette decided to hand the Snake Miraculous over to Luca, who became Viperion, and that choice turned out to be spot on. With the power of second chance, Luca managed to rewind events until he found the right path to defeat the villain. And that's not all. Adrienne also had to use the Ladybug Miraculous once, and became Mr. Bug. Gabriel Agreste. The most hated villain in Miraculous Ladybug, Gabriel Agreste, has racked up moments that would make any therapist quit their job. During the first 6 seasons, he stayed loyal to the Butterfly Miraculous. But at the start of Season 4, he decided to spice up his villain resume and added the Peacock Jewel too. And that's when the infamous Shadow Moth was born. With this new combo, Gabriel gained the ability to create Centimonsters. Basically, he would release these creepy creatures that looked like rejected Pokemon mixed with Power Rangers villains just to ruin Ladybug, Cat Noir, and any poor soul who happened to be sipping a quiet coffee in Paris. After all, messing with other people's lives seemed to be the man's favorite hobby. But the real chaos started at the end of Season 4, when Felix pulled off a master move. He tricked Ladybug by pretending to be Adrian and stole all the Miraculous, handing them over to Gabriel on a silver platter. The result? Gabriel crowned himself as monarch, because of course, his ego is so massive that being just a regular villain wasn't enough anymore. And then came the most brilliant, or better said, the dumbest, decision of his career, using all the Miraculous at the same time. Sounds incredible, right? But in practice, it's like trying to binge every season of Miraculous without stopping to eat or sleep. At some point, your body gives out. Even Marinette, who's basically a factory-made superhero, got super exhausted when she tried. And Gabriel, poor guy, ended up one step away from becoming a living statue. Stylish villain? Sure. But one with stamina? His battery hit zero real fast. In the end, Gabriel proved that being too powerful comes at a price. The difference is that while Ladybug pays in exhaustion, he nearly paid with an eternal coma. But let's be honest, for a guy who spent 6 seasons with that face like he's been eating lemons for breakfast, fainting was only a matter of time. Before we keep discovering which holders swapped their Miraculous, drop a comment down below. Ladybug. Alia Césaire, Marinette's best friend, better known as Reine Rouge, has proven over and over that she's basically Paris's official backup heroine. So much so that when Marinette had to travel to London, she entrusted none other than the Ladybug Miraculous to her friend. That's when Alia stepped up and took on the identity of Scarabella. And let's be real, carrying the weight of being Ladybug is no joke. Imagine all of Paris on your shoulders, villains popping up left and right, and the pressure of knowing you can't mess up. Because if you do, that's it. But Alia showed courage, intelligence, and even her own unique style of leadership, proving that Marinette's trust wasn't misplaced. And that wasn't the only time. In Season 6, Alia once again used the Ladybug's power when Marinette handed her the Miraculous a second time. It was another chance to show that, even though she's not the official holder, she's totally capable of keeping the city safe. At the end of the day, Alia has used more than one Miraculous, taken on massive responsibilities, and still manages to be that same friend who gives advice, records videos for the Lady Blog, and somehow finds time to live her own life. Nino. Everybody knows Master Fu was the official guardian of the Turtle Miraculous, the jewel of protection. But since nothing is ever simple in Miraculous, there always comes a time when Paris gets swarmed with AKUMATIZED villains and Ladybug has to improvise. That's when Marinette decided to hand the Turtle Miraculous to none other than Nino. At first, it was just a quick loan. Like when you borrow your friend's phone charger, swear you'll give it back in 5 minutes, and then somehow keep it forever. But the truth is, the guy totally nailed it. He didn't just hold the shield, he proved he had the calm and loyalty needed to be a real hero. Master Fu, who's no fool, saw the potential and made a definitive choice, officially giving the Turtle Miraculous to Nino. And that's how Carapace was born, the tough-shelled hero who's basically Ladybug's team tank. And honestly, this Miraculous fit him like a glove. Nino has always been the loyal friend, the chill guy who prefers to solve things with dialogue. And now he's got a power that matches that protective vibe perfectly. While some holders have used Miraculous just to show off or gain status, Nino uses his exactly the way it was meant to be used, to protect others. Plus, having Nino as Carapace brought some fun chemistry to the team. He's already fought side by side with his girlfriend Alia when she transforms into Reine Rouge. It's basically a relationship goal. While some couples coordinate outfits for parties, they coordinate magical powers to save Paris. Chloe. There was a moment when Ladybug decided to hand the Bee Miraculous to Chloe. But, as expected, she didn't act out of heroism, she acted out of status. Instead of protecting Paris, she treated the jewel like a luxury accessory and even revealed her identity to everyone, which is basically rule number 11 in the Don't Do This manual for Miraculous holders. The result? A disaster. Chloe ended up being akumatized and, even worse, used the Bee Miraculous itself to spread chaos. It was one of those moments where Ladybug probably wondered why she ever trusted the mayor's daughter in the first place. After that fiasco, Ladybug had to make a serious decision: retrieve the Bee Miraculous. But she didn't just want to shelve the jewel. Marinette knew this power could still be useful, as long as it was in the right hands. So, she decided to trust the Miraculous to Zoe, Chloe's sister. At first, Zoe was super insecure. After all, carrying the legacy of her sister, who had already caused so much mess, didn't sound like a great idea. But Ladybug made it clear that she saw in Zoe someone who genuinely wanted to help others. In the end, Zoe accepted the mission and proved that the Be Miraculous could indeed be used for good. Subscribing and dropping a like is quick, and you won't miss any of the awesome content coming your way. Dog Miraculous. As we mentioned before, Ladybug made one of her biggest strategic mistakes, handing the Dog Miraculous to Felix, the most mysterious, sly, and shameless cousin in the entire series. The result? That decision was basically an open invitation to chaos, and of course, chaos came. Ladybug ended up losing all the Miraculous, which went straight into Gabriel Agreste's hands. This was the tensest moment at the end of Season 4. Paris was on the verge of collapse, the heroes' team was left powerless, and Ladybug had to deal with the weight of having trusted the wrong person. But as always, the heroine managed to turn things around. After tons of effort, tears, and wild strategies, Ladybug was able to take control again and gather the Miraculous back. Then came the question, who should receive the Dog Miraculous this time? That's when Marinette made a new decision and gave the jewel to Sabrina Rencompris, Chloe's best friend. The choice was almost poetic. After Chloe lost her right to be a holder for using her power for status and ego, her inseparable companion got the chance to prove she could be different. And guess what? Sabrina surprised everyone. When she transformed into Miss Hound, Sabrina showed courage and loyalty, traits she had hidden for a long time behind Chloe's shadow. In the episode Evolution, Alex Kubdel, the Rabbit Miraculous holder with the power to travel through time, also had to use the Dog Miraculous to help Ladybug and Cat Noir. Natalie, the Agreste family's assistant, has always been much more than she seemed. Beyond managing the mansion and every little detail of the family's life, she also harbors a secret crush on Gabriel himself. But she didn't just live off feelings. Natalie also joined the ranks of Miraculous holders when she was given the Peacock Miraculous, handed to her by Gabriel. The only problem is that this Miraculous comes with a nasty side effect. It leaves the user extremely weakened. For Natalie, it was no different. The power was huge, but so was the cost, and she ended up falling ill from trying to use it. Like any villain or hero would do in that situation, Gabriel eventually took the Miraculous from her and began using it himself. That's how, around Season 4, Gabriel took up the Peacock Miraculous and transformed into Shadow Moth. And let's be honest, that was the point when he became truly dangerous. Thanks to Natalie's earlier experience with the Miraculous, Gabriel was able to tap into its full potential without the same limitations she had faced. At the end of the day, what we've learned from all these stories is that no matter who's holding the Miraculous, whether it's Marinette, Alia, Nino, or even Gabriel, the real power doesn't lie only in the jewels themselves, but in the choices each holder makes. Do you enjoy animations? Then don't miss these 2 videos that are just awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us, and see you next time. Miraculous! Tales of the Ladybug and Cat Noir brought us AKUMATIZED villains who challenged the heroes with incredible powers and unforgettable battles. But do you already know the strongest of them all? The ones who really impressed us and almost defeated Ladybug and Cat Noir? Miraculous. Chloe is a narcissistic bully, bossy, selfish, and shallow, who does everything she can to crush others and loves making her rivals' lives miserable, especially Marinette, whom she despises. As always, she wanted to shine alongside Ladybug and Cat Noir, hoping to be called in for another heroic mission. But when the invitation never came, she exploded with rage. And who had to take it all? Of course, poor Sabrina, who's practically Chloe's official punching bag. All that frustration from the spoiled blonde became the perfect fuel for Hawk Moth, who turned Sabrina into Miraculous, a powerful villain eager to show the world that even a second-choice friend can take the spotlight. Miracle Queen. This wasn't the first time Chloe got AKUMATIZED. After all, she never really knew how to follow the rules. She even revealed to everyone that she was Queen Bee, which forced Ladybug to bench her before trusting her with another mission. As expected, she didn't take that lightly and started trying to grab the protagonist's attention in every way possible. But after being ignored, she became the perfect ally for Hawk Moth, so he pulled the strings, placing a Miraculous in the hands of the spoiled girl. and chaos broke loose in Paris. Miracle Queen, now more arrogant than ever, forced miraculous holders to reveal themselves and declared them all her royal guard, mocking Ladybug and her allies. Meanwhile, Hawkmoth and Mayura kidnapped Master Fu and unleashed a colossal centimonster, raising the pressure on the heroes even more. Aquabug and Aqua Noir came up with a bold plan to rescue Fu and stop Miracle Queen. In the final showdown, the twist arrived. Snake Noir and Dragonbug fought against the controlled heroes and one by one managed to free them. Miracle Queen was finally deakumatized, but things got tense when Queen Bee tried to steal the Miraculous and crown herself as Paris's greatest hero. Ladybug, firm and done with the drama, decided to suspend Chloe from the team for good. Small signs and events hint that new dangers could pop up at any moment, keeping the heroes constantly alert and ready to act. Ready to dive into this awesome video? Dark Cupid. Rejection leaves a nasty feeling. Getting dumped is hard enough, but add humiliation on top of that, and it's a perfect setup for Hawkmoth to send out an Akuma to comfort someone. After being rejected by Chloe Bourgeois, Lei Xian Kim gets a rather unusual upgrade. His Dark Cupid persona gives him the power to shoot arrows that make people bitter and grumpy. The more sour they get, the higher the chance they'll be akumatized. The most impressive part? Hawkmoth almost overlooked the fact that this power was basically a shortcut to mass akumatizations. Wishmaker. Alec Cataldi, the cockiest presenter in Paris, was sick of his own life and stuck in the past like an endless rerun of a bad soap opera. Shadow Moth, of course, can smell drama from miles away and sends him an Akuma gift. The result? Alec becomes the fearsome Wishmaker, a villain with the power to make people's childhood dreams come true, but without any instructions and without asking if they even wanted it. Wishmaker keeps insisting he's just helping people achieve their dreams, but in practice, he's causing pure chaos. Shooting star attacks rain down like meteors, innocent people are in danger, and he even tries to uncover Cat Noir's secret childhood dream to control him. Luckily, Ladybug isn't alone. Viperion steps in, bringing strategy and patience worthy of someone used to fixing everyone else's disasters. Techno-Pirate. In Miraculous New York, Marinette's group had barely started their trip before it turned into a full-blown action episode. The plane was about to land for Franco-American Friendship Week when Techno-Pirate showed up, determined to steal one of the turbines. Because, of course, every villain thinks an airplane turbine makes a great souvenir. Chaos broke out, but Majestia, Jet Falcon, Uncanny Valley, and Sparrow swooped in, literally, to save the day, defeating the pirate and snapping the turbine back in place like it was a Lego piece. But Techno-Pirate's bad luck didn't stop there. While he was being transported to prison, Hawkmoth decided he'd make the perfect bait and akumatized him, turning him into Technolyzer. The plan was simple: stir up trouble while Hawkmoth tried to snatch the Eagle Miraculous. And since villains never know when to quit, Hawkmoth re-akumatized the pirate again and handed him the power of the Miraculous, creating Miraclinizer, an even more dangerous, over-the-top version of the villain. Simple Man. Roland, Marinette's grumpy grandpa, was already at his limit with the kids' antics and technology that seemed to speak an alien language. Shadow Moth, always listening for complaints, seized on his anger and turned him into Simpleman, a villain whose mission was to put everything literally into easy mode. Armed with a magical spatula, he started simplifying Paris. But of course, Ladybug and Cat Noir showed up to crash the party. The catch? Fighting against Simpleman wasn't that simple. He protected children and turned each battle into a confusing mess. In the end, with help from the kids themselves and one of her famous improvised plans, Ladybug used her yo-yo and lucky charm to capture the Akuma and return Paris to normal. Troublemaker. Penny had already hit her limit trying to keep a TV show running inside the bakery, the phone ringing non-stop, Jagged Stone causing chaos as usual, Bob Roth yelling louder than a customer stuck in line, and Alec Cataldi throwing fuel on the fire. The result? Maximum stress. Hawkmoth, of course, didn't waste a second and sent an Akuma right away, turning Penny into the villain troublemaker. Armed with her akumatized pen, she gained the power to walk through walls. Ladybug and Cat Noir rushed in to save the day, but fighting someone who can phase through everything is no easy task. In the middle of the chaos, they realized the pen was the source of her power and came up with a clever plan. Before we move on with the strongest akumatized villains in Miraculous Ladybug, drop a comment below. Danger! Kwami Buster. Plag can never resist a good piece of cheese, and this time he gets lured by a slice left behind in the science lab. Tiki, always the cautious one, follows him before things spiral out of control. But teacher Olga Mendeleev catches the movement and tries to capture the Kwamis. They barely manage to escape, leaving the teacher even more obsessed. The next day, she shows up on the Alternative Truth program to announce her big discovery: mysterious little creatures that eat cheese. The problem? Zero proof. The audience laughs, and the embarrassment is so huge that Hawkmoth jumps at the chance, turning her into Kwami Buster, a villain obsessed with hunting Kwamis and putting Ladybug and Cat Noir's Miraculous at risk. Knight or Mentor. Knight or Mentor was a creepy yet stylish supervillain able to shoot out magical dust. Anyone hit by it was forced to mentally face their worst nightmare, basically Hawkmoth's version of shock therapy. To make things worse, he also had the power of voyage from the horse Miraculous, allowing him to teleport around the battlefield, making his moves nearly impossible to predict. His suit swapped out black, red, and white for deep purple, blue, and flashes of shiny pink glitter all over, like he'd fallen straight into a glitter shop. His bold hairstyle matched, blue hair with sparkling pink streaks. Catalyst. Hawkmoth akumatizes Lila, turning her once again into Volpina, who spreads illusions of Ladybug and Cat Noir during the parade. As if that weren't enough, he sends out Scarlet Akuma and recruits Nadja, Jagged Stone, and Clara Nightingale into the chaos. And the final blow, Natalie becomes Catalyst, strengthening Gabriel, who transforms into his most dangerous form yet, Scarlet Moth, now with the power to create a true army of villains. Faced with such a massive threat, Marinette acts fast. With Tiki's help, she calls on her trusted allies, Alia as Reina Rouge, Nino as Carapace, and even Chloe as Queen Bee. The episode ends on an epic note, with Ladybug, Cat Noir, Reina Rouge, Queen Bee, and Carapace standing side by side, ready to face one of the biggest challenges in the entire series. The future of Paris rests on strategy, trust, and unity. And Heroes Day becomes nothing less than the day of battle. Time Tagger. To defeat this villain, Ladybug and Cat Noir needed a little extra help from their future selves so Paris could be saved once again. Time Tagger, a villain from the future, shows up attacking the heroes with beams that send people and objects straight into the past. Ladybug and Cat Noir realize they're facing something far too big to handle alone. That's when Bunnix arrives, the heroine from the future who only shows up when everyone else has failed. She reveals that she's actually Alex as an adult, wielder of the Rabbit Miraculous. Together, they come up with a plan to defeat Time Tagger, relying on brains, teamwork, and his time portals. This is the perfect time for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. That way, no update will ever slip by. Lady Wi-Fi. Alia is one of Marinette's best friends. Her intelligence always stands out, and it's no coincidence she's the official Reina Rouge. In fact, Ladybug has even revealed her identity to her. Now, as Lady Wi-Fi, she might not be the strongest physically, but what she lacks in muscles, she more than makes up for with her powers. With her abilities, she can pause, play, block, and even broadcast real people and objects, manipulating everything around her. On top of that, she can launch attacks that mess with people's confidence in Ladybug and Cat Noir and spy on any enemy daring enough to cross her path. The Puppeteer. If you think the most dangerous villains are the adults, you're dead wrong. After all, Manon Shamak is just a little girl when she transforms into the Puppeteer, but don't be fooled. What she lacks in size, she makes up for in power. Her ability to control others through dolls makes her a dangerously strategic villain. As long as she has someone's doll, she can force them to obey her every command. Can you imagine being controlled by a child? Ikari Gozen. Ikari Gozen is a villain who blends tradition, technology, and sheer intimidation. A robotic centaur samurai, created when Tomoe Tsurugi gets akumatized after her frustration with Kagami not following her rules. She's not only terrifying in appearance, her massive body towers over Paris, and she doesn't care about the destruction she leaves behind while searching for her daughter. Fueled by rage and feelings of betrayal, Ikari Gozen acts impulsively and unpredictably. Like many villains, her destruction is amplified by the long katana she wields, capable of cutting through any obstacle in her path. Tomoe was already formidable in her human form, but as Ikari Gozen, her powers and ferocity are exponentially amplified, making her a threat that Ladybug, Cat Noir, and their allies must take very seriously. Gigantitan. Gigantitan may look like just an ordinary baby, but that's exactly what makes him so extremely dangerous as a villain. Can you imagine having to fight a giant baby? That's definitely not the easiest thing in the world. When August gets akumatized, he transforms into Gigantitan, a giant baby dressed up like a supervillain. At only 1 year old, he stomps across Paris, knocking down buildings, cars, and anything else in his way, causing absolute chaos in the city. The destruction isn't entirely intentional, it's all about his desperate search for a lollipop. Thankfully, Ladybug and Cat Noir step in, face the giant baby, and manage to capture him. Ladybug then uses her lucky charm to undo all the damage, restoring Paris back to normal. In the end, the situation is resolved, the heroes manage to restore order, and the villains return to their normal selves, reminding us that even in the face of chaos, teamwork, courage, and creativity always prevail. If you're into animations, these two videos are a must-watch. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!